I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think,
yeah, whatever. Jesus, what, are you going to sing the whole fucking song? Well, I basically did. I was right at the end. I could have carried on. I could have. I bet you were expecting me to say, like,
I hear babies cry. I stamp on their heads to shut them up. I make them dead. And I think to myself, fucking shut your whore mouth.
To a baby, 'cause babies are whores.
I hear mothers cry, 'cause I killed their kids. Ha 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 ha. That's what I did. And I think to myself, holy shit, it's the police. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Now they're coming for me. They're at my door. Now I'm in cuffs, my face to the floor, and I think to myself, man, that was real fun. Ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. They strapped me to the chair. They tie me in, put bolts to my head, and the shocks begin. And I think to myself, doo 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 doo.
That was the sound of me getting electrocuted. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? Give him the chair, give him the chair, give him the chair, give him the chair. Baby killer, give him the chair, give him the chair. I think if I got an abortion, I'd get a shirt that said baby killer with a little crown over it. Where's a scrap of paper I can use? That won't give away what I'm drawing outside of this. It would be a t-shirt. I mean, I've just said what it would be like, so I think you get it. This is me over-explaining. Hi, welcome to the over-explaining shit podcast. It would say, baby killer, and then there'd be a crown there. That's funny. But then people would say, that's disgusting. How can you do that? And I'd say, no. See, and then I'd maybe on the inside of the shirt is printed a little picture of like a baby with a knife or a gun or something, and it's like, no, the baby is the killer, see? And then they go, no, okay, I get it, that's funny, you'll carry on then. And then they walk away and you go, stupid cunt, it actually means I kill babies for fun, because that's what I find enjoyable. Fuck you, I'll fucking kill a baby. Oh, hi everyone. I didn't see you come in. Is that one of the most overused, worst tropes of like, hi, I didn't see you there, in a studio with cameras and lights and production assistants and whores that suck my dick every 15 minutes. We call them interns. That's what they're for. All that sexual harassment you get done for that. I hear babies cry. I was going to say something about molesting them, the babies, and that's why they're crying. But I won't, because that would be bad. We don't do that here at the Ewan podcast. The Ewans, I was thinking about moving into, because, you know, I started with like, Ewan sucks. Oh, Ewan sucks. Boo. Well, that's funny, and Ewan sucks, but he's actually really good. But he says he sucks. What's he doing? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the intricacies of his humour. As if my humour has any intricacies whatsoever. I was thinking about moving towards calling it something along the lines of like the Ewan is the best podcast. Ewan wins. Maybe the Ewan wins podcast. Even though, you know, I go to those drawing contests and then progressively continue. Progressively wasn't the necessary word there. Then I continue to not win. That's my point. Call it the Ewan Wins podcast, and then I just proceed to not do that. To not win. I could call it maybe it could be part of like manifesting, mindfulness and speaking things into existence. I call it the Ewan Wins podcast. And then maybe through that I'll start winning because of the energy I'm putting out into the universe, because that's what it's about. It's about energy and you know, I don't know, some crystals and shit. It's a bunch of shit. I was thinking, actually, this is quite funny. This is I guess not really on or off topic, it just is what it is. I was thinking about maybe starting a TikTok because I thought, you know, I've got to try and stay relevant in some kind of way, and Instagram just cannot last forever. It can't. It's got to run out sooner or later, and if it does, then that's me fucked, and I'll have to get a real job or be homeless or something. I thought, I'll start TikTok. I don't really know what to... And I'm aware that like TikTok has various trends and groups. There's like I can't think of any to name them right now, but I know there's like witch TikTok, like witches have their own little groups and things on TikTok. You know, modern day witches and things. And I'm aware that like the sorts of people who are into like crystals and crystal energy and crystal healing and stuff, they have their own little space on TikTok. And I thought I could use and abuse that. Get hold of some crystals. There's several shops around me that sell stores for the American viewers. You might not know what the word shop means because you're all uneducated fuckheads that have no sense of other people's cultures apart from your own. Happy Independence Day! There's several stores around me that sell crystals and such. So, I could go in and, I could play it up, like, speak to the people in the stores all genuinely and be like, so I'm looking for some crystals for, like, sleeping better, some for, like, healing, anxiety, those kinds of things. Get crystals and learn about them. I'm sure 5 minutes of Googling will give me all the information I need on which crystals do things and do what. And then I can make little TikTok videos of, like, me drawing and then holding a crystal, and I can have like a TikTok saying, "Hi, I'm an artist and I draw pictures of like bums and cats and look, here's a funny cat commission I drew. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? It's actually really cute. I like it." I can say, I'm an artist. I do this and that. While I'm doing that, I hold on to this crystal, which gives seeps into the palm chakra, whatever that one is, and gives you calm non-anxious energy to help stay focused and creative while drawing your artwork. Just do a whole bunch of videos like that, just talking absolute fucking gobbledygook about crystals while I draw, and everyone would be like, oh shit, this guy's drawings are really, really cool. And then, Crystal Talk or whatever, Crystal TikTok will be like, wow, he knows so much about crystals, and he clearly, he uses them to help with his art, and his art is all these cool colours, and he does drawings and paintings, wow. And then somewhere along the line I'll be like, oh, by the way, like when if I use that and it builds me a following, I can, once I've got enough of a following that it doesn't really matter anymore. People just follow for the art, for my wicked, sharp, dangerous personality. After a while, I can just fuck the crystals off and be like, yeah, I don't believe in any of that crystal shit. I did that just to gain a following, because I didn't want to. I didn't have enough confidence in myself and my artwork, so I felt I needed like a gimmick, like a hook. It's good enough for pop music. It's good enough for me. A load of shit pop music gets really popular just because it has a hook. Literally, that's the term they use, the hook of the song, just to literally hook people in. And then it gets really, really popular. And then people go, oh, that artist is actually a horrible, abusive piece of shit. But never mind, let's all buy their records anyway. Or, stream their music again and again. Because that's, I guess, the thing nowadays, isn't it? You don't buy records, you stream their music, and that gives an indication of how popular they are currently, and that gives them credibility, and that makes the record companies happy, and then they go on tour and they make their money and they sell merch, and then they collaborations with other fucking abusive shithead artists, and it's so cool the way popularity works with no real substance, but as long as you can, you've got a gimmick and then people latch onto it and then you become popular and then you do whatever you want, yay! Which is, exactly what I'm hoping for in my art career. I just want people to go, hey, he's cool, give him enough money to live off of so he can just spend all his time masturbating and playing video games. I mean, creating cool artwork and stuff. I'm working on some things behind the scenes. I'm working on getting some secret projects out. I did that Zach Ridley, the whole issue of Zach Ridley, of the newest one I did. Have you seen it? I showed it a bunch of times. I can't find it right now. It's under piles and piles and piles of stuff. Is there a copy available close by? No. Nah, it's under too many books. But I did Zach Ridley, book 2, issue 1. I did that completely in secret. I didn't share any of the work in progress of it. And then one day I just went, oh, by the way, I did this entire fucking 22-page comic book, hand painted and whatnot. So I can do it. It's tricky because especially when I try to post daily on Instagram, and that's where my bread and butter comes from. The compulsion is to show off. If you have a drawing or something to show, is to show it off, and hopefully that brings in more people and potentially more work, so you can keep going and keep doing your shit. But I managed to do that whole issue of a comic completely secretly, purely because I wanted to do it, and for it to be a surprise, to drop it suddenly and have people go, ooh, a new thing all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I did it successfully. And so I'm planning something similar to that ish. I've got a couple of things I could work on that are like secret projects that I'll bring out, sooner or later. If and when I ever actually get the fucking things done, do you know what I mean? I dig in deep and get the lemon yellow shit in my pants, bitch, yeah, motherfucking do 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 tweedle deedle do 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 do. I it was never a clear, it wasn't it was never, I didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't what's the fucking term I'm looking for? It wasn't an outward decision I made to start each podcast episode with a musical number of some sort. If it's me just talking about music or playing a piece of music or even singing a song for you. But I think it's sort of become a thing unintentionally. And I don't hate it. I think it's quite nice. You know, start off with a nice little singy song. And it's not an intro as such, because it's not the same introduction every episode, every week. It's always something different, something new. Well, maybe not that new, but it's always something. Sometimes that's how I get the energy to record sometimes, because I might be having a bit of a dull day, a bit of a not so great mental health day as it goes. And so I've got to sort of drudge up the energy from somewhere to get some shit done. So I'll put some music on, take some caffeine pills, have a little sing song, and that, not always, it doesn't always work, but that sometimes will give me the little boost of like energy of like, yeah, let's do it, let's fucking get at it, let's get it done, and then I can get it done. And so I figured, why not, record that, make that part of the thing. And yeah, I did. I don't know if you noticed, I think it was last week, normally what I do is I press record, I sit down, get myself situated, and then I go and begin, and then I cut out like the first few seconds, so when you press play on the video, it's bam, straight into it, blah, blah, do. But I think it was last week I pressed record, and then then that's when the podcast started. So I think you have me sitting down, clearing my throat and whatever, and I think there's something good about that. It's a very, I see it as being a very sort of honest and truthful opening to the show, because that's what I try to be honest with you guys. I try to, what you see is what you get. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not editing things in or out necessarily. I'm just, the whole point of this is we're hanging out. I'm giving you a little, like, this is a glimpse into where I'm at, what I do, who I am under the surface, yeah. And like we're just humans hanging out and enjoying doing what we do, which is drawing and shit in this case. And yeah, I think it's a lot more honest to like leave that shit in than to edit it out. I mean, it can be a complete stylistic thing. Sometimes I prefer the podcast to start on an edited cut in to me just going bam, hey, suck a dick, penis breath, drop my paintbrush, shit everywhere. But sometimes, I just want to be like, oh, this is how we're starting today. Just press play or press record and then start, and that's it. What happens, happens. And what doesn't. What happens in Vegas makes you gay, Gus. Because what happens in Vegas is usually lots and lots of gay sex. Which I don't say to make fun of gay sex, because I'm all in favour of gay. Believe me, I am fully in favour of gay sex. Not lesbian sex, though. I think gay sex is only good when it's men. I think lesbians should shut up and fuck off. Get all these lesbians out of my house. God, why is my house full of lesbians all the time? Oh, what are you doing? It's weird. Get out. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know where I'm going with anything. Half the time. Try 7/8 of the time. 7/8 of the time. Oh, speaking of apes, I heard about this chimp. I was reading, I like to read about chimps. My favourite book is called Great Apes by Will Self. It's one of my favourite books that I've read, which I haven't done in a long time. We all know I'm not a fan of reading these days. But But one of my favourite books I have actually read all the way through. It's called Great Apes. I've spoken about it before. A guy gets he falls asleep and wakes up in the world is exactly the same, and he's exactly the same, except it's all ever so slightly smaller because everyone around him are now apes, chimpanzees and orangutans. They all talk like people, but they communicate with other apes. They wear little clothes and drive little cars and everything. It's very, very. Will Self is a very good social satirist. He's very, very good at that shit, and that's a very good example. And I love chimps and apes and that sort of thing. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love a fucking monkey? We all love bloody monkeys. They're fucking great. So every now and again, I'll read about monkeys and things. And there was a chimpanzee in a zoo, I think in America or somewhere, and it had made and gathered ammunition. It had broken off bits of rocks into smaller chunks of rock and hid them all in a pile. It was stockpiling ammunition in this corner of its enclosure, close to where people would stand to view the chimpanzees, and it would just fucking sling them at people who were there looking at the chimpanzees in the enclosure. And, I think it would throw shit and stuff. But, yeah, rocks and bits of dirt. It was literally making ammo, weapons, to throw at the fucking people who just stand there gawping like a bunch of idiots. Which I think is fantastic. I think that's amazing. There's something so, I want to say human, but not human. It's something so natural and alive about that kind of behaviour. When you're trapped in an enclosure and people just fucking gawk at you all day like a bunch of fucks, I think it's perfectly natural to just want to throw shit at them. Literally shit and, fucking rocks and whatever else you can get your hands on. Bits of bone. A baby chimp. Fucking take this shit, I don't want it. And I think that's amazing. However, the tale, sadly, does not have a happy ending. I think the chimp got out of his enclosure, which, again, completely understandable behaviour. It clearly wasn't happy where it was. I think it escaped its enclosure, and they shot it dead because it was a potential risk. It was a risk that it could get out and hurt people or whatever. So they shot it dead, which is tragic. Frankly, I think it's disgusting. The obvious connection to be made is Harambe and that whole thing, and that's pretty disgusting too. Ultimately, if there's a human life at risk, then you have to. I don't agree necessarily, but I understand the stance of you have to protect the human life over the animal life. Like I say, I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Some twat kid falls into an enclosure. Even if it doesn't look like the gorilla's gonna hurt the kid, it's there's every possibility that gorilla will go fucking psycho and tear the kid limb from limb in front of a crowd of people. You've got to take the fucking monkey out. I don't agree with it, like I say, but I get it. It's not good, but it's just how it goes, I guess. I've got a box of comics. I've got a box of comics. I've got a box of comics, and I've shown it before. And in that box of comics, there are a bunch of comics. Amongst that bunch of comics, there are things like Rocket Raccoon, Lobo, Kick-Ass, some Spider-Man stuff, the Max, bunch of shit, and this, which I've shown before. And I've spoken before about just how, very, maybe briefly, but how just fucking fantastic Dale Keown is. Here's a picture of a drawing of the Hulk he did. I know, fuck, man. His drawings are they're just fucking good drawing. Like some comic artists, it's like, wow, their composition's amazing. Their use of black and white is amazing. The use of light and shadow, use of proportions, their sense of musculature, their anatomy, layouts, whatever. Like different comic artists have different strengths in various things. Some of them are just good at drawing. Dale Keown, his drawings are just fucking good. He also has a great sense of light and dark, a good sense of double lighting, which comes to play a lot in Pitt comics, even in the front cover of issue 1, which I've got here. He's just so fucking good. Anyway, so I was aware that other than this, which I got in a random like bag of 10 comics for £2 in a bookshop where I used to live years and years ago, I'd never heard of the Pitt before. I was quite young. I didn't really know comics, but I always hung on to this because there was something really cool about it. You know, it's perfect 90s image, muscle, chains, and checkered shirt comics. Like, that's perfect 90s comics. Double lighting on that is amazing. I didn't really know what I was looking at, but I always thought it was cool, so I hung on to it. Later on, I realised I'd never seen another Pitt comic in my entire goddamn life. I was aware Pitt had appeared in various forms in various comics, here and there, little guest appearances, but I was never seen another Pitt comic other than this one single issue that I was holding. I looked it up. There were officially 20 Pitt comics released of Dale Keown's own Pitt comic. And this is all of them. Oh my sweet baby Lee, Lord and Jesus. I won't mention how much I paid for these. More than I should. And it did bad things to my bank account. I will openly admit that. But, I mean, how could I not? It's the full run, 20 issues of Dale Keown's Pitt comic. Including, weirdly, this, which is a half issue. Half of it is Pitt and then half of it is something else. I don't know. Is it like an X-Files thing? I think. Yeah. What should I file it under? X, Mulder and Scully. It's cool, whatever. But we're here for this weird half issue of Pitt. So I could I could try and look through all of these today, or I might spread them out a bit. I think, we did Ashley Wood over 2 episodes, a big fucking book, so that made sense. And this, I figure I could get 2 or 3 weeks out of. I mean, I could do 4. If I do 5 issues a week, which is quite a lot to look through still, then that I can do that 4 times. I'll see how it goes. I'll look through it, and if I feel like there's a natural stopping point, I'll So let's start at the start. I don't even know how to. Well, let's do this because that's cool. I do like this as well. How it's the same drawing but then coloured differently throughout. That's a pretty cool little. That's a pretty cool little detail. So Pitt number 1. This is from back in the day. I love that it's on like uncoated paper, so it's matte finish. It's not shiny or anything, and it feels very sort of dark and like the ink would bleed, like proper dark 90s comic. And it is dark. The amount of ink on that page is ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous, but very cool, I guess. And yeah, straight away, Dale Keown's drawings. That's fucking fantastic. And I maybe absorbed some of this into Gun Viking, but absolutely not consciously. I've had a quick flick through these, but I've not looked at them in great detail, so we'll do that as we go. But there have been bits and pieces here that I've thought like, oh, that is really Gun Viking, and that's really Gun Viking. And again, until recently, I didn't even know these really existed, so I didn't steal. I officially didn't steal. And this arm is just fucking good. He's got the veins, great. I love his hatching is so cool. His like chunkiness is so good. Triple lighting on this. He's got the mid-tone and then the green yellow here and the orange yellow here. It's gorgeous. His layouts are really cool as well. Very sort of, again, 90s image layouts. Long panels and then this in front of the panels. And then these bikers are just beating him up because that's what bikers do. And then really cool, just like beating people up scenes. Fucking arms and legs and shit. Really fucking cool. And this is a really, really cool 2 panels, which when I first looked at it, I figured, oh, it's just 2 separate panels, which it is, but they work in perfect sequence. So you've got his back muscles is insane, you know, twice as many muscles as he should have. Huge chunky arm, like foreshortened, his hair swaying as he's punching a bike by the looks of it, with someone coming off of it there. All these bikers going every which way. And then he swings around, so you've got this guy's arm here holding a flick knife, which very good storytelling, like right in the foreground, the little twing off the flick knife as it flicks out of its handle. Right there. And then the same guy's arms as Pitt swings round and just fucking cracks him in the face, chest, head, all at the same time with his giant hand. And the flick knife comes out of his hand. Swing, poof! That's so cool. And like the directional fucking movement of Pitt and the muscles and veins and everything. Just all these lines are just so cool. I love lines. That's why I do the hatching the way I do with ballpoint pens. So I just fucking love lines and making drawings from lines. There's something really pleasing about it to me. Just fucking these bikers up. And then you thought that was bad. It takes a shotgun blast to the gut. And then the claws come out. And I've noticed in the quick flick through I did, this is like a repeating thing, which is quite cool. It's like Wolverine's claws almost, but not quite as gimmicky. But he does, you know, like a cat's claws, fingers, the claws come out a bit, then they're more savage looking, red in the eyes. Shoot him again! And then he goes fucking berserk. Fucking slain warp spasm mode. And that's a cool page as well. Double page, splash panel almost. Just fucking gangster looking Pitt. I know almost nothing about Pitt, but he's just fucking cool. And Dale Keown's drawings are just like mwah, 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 mwah. Fucking fantastic. From the start as well. Like this is early days. But it's just fucking cool. And then there's the whole thing with the kid as the side thing. And I have, through my short flick through, I have found out the connection between Pitt and the kid. But if you're unaware, we'll get to it. If you are aware, we know we're on the same level of knowledge. And then there's a whole thing, there's people talking and there's like aliens coming from space and whatever, a bunch of shit. I don't know. Really, I just want to look at the drawings of Pitt, you know. These guys are cool, but whatever. A Sam Keith drawing of Pitt and the kid, which is kind of cool. It's very Max-like, you know, that's basically the Max, isn't it? That's quite a good Sam Keith piece. Not one of his best, but as we've seen, very much not one of his worst. Issue 1. So then there's this half issue, and I want to focus on one thing in particular in this. You can see he's on a train. That's a cool cover. The covers are worth pointing out as well, because they're usually pretty cool. Some of them are much better than others, but yeah, they're usually pretty nice. Another shiny flick knife. Some shit, some aliens. I guess Pitt escaped from his chamber on this spaceship. Gone! Impossible! Where did he go? He zapped into... fucking my brushes and shit. Zapped into life on a train. These thugs were beaten up. See, the kid is on a train with a hockey stick, because why not? With his grandpop or whatever. And these guys are attacking people and attacking his grandpa. And then he hits the one with a stick and he's about to get beaten up. But then the Pitt fucking swoops in, warps in. The claws come out. Dun, 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 dun. That's like Gun Viking with his like gun appears in his hand. And this I saw this. I was at a train station just after I got these. I had to get off the train because it was too packed and I felt like I was going to pass out from fucking heat stroke or something. So I got off at a station that wasn't my stop and then waited for the next train. While I was waiting, I pulled this issue out in particular because I was intrigued by it being a half issue. And I was taken with this sequence because it's such a cool sequence. It reminds me slightly of the hallway scene in Old Boy, and if you know Old Boy, you know the hallway scene. So they're on the train, and then, you know, it's a subway train, so the lights flicker on and off. It happens in London just as well as much as it happens in, you know, New York and wherever else. So they're all on the train going to fight him. The lights flicker off, and there's poof, 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 the lights flicker on, and then you can see this guy's flying that way, he's flying this way. Lights flicker off, crack, poof, poof, the lights flicker on again, and he's just beating the shit out of them. It's just a really cool, like, visual storytelling sequence on a train with the lights going on and off. That's really, like, I don't recall seeing anything quite like that utilizes the flickering on and off of the lights of a train in that storytelling kind of way, as like a passage of time thing. It's really, really cool. And then he beats up all the guys. He goes to the kid, here's your hockey stick, you're a good fighter. And the kid's like, thanks. And then he jumps off, climbs up a building, and then just looks badass. He's just talking about, so there's discrepancy in the atmospheric conditions. He needs time to adjust. He's going to have problems fitting in. I hate it already. Pitt! And that's the half issue. Which is a really cool half issue. Is that 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pages? Yeah, decent, cool, fucking fun little half issue. And then to issue 2. And then straight away, it's glossy paper. The colours look a lot more bright. This looks a lot more almost Marvel-esque in terms of comics, which I'm not fully into. I don't hate it, but it does feel like even the difference between this and issue 1, like they've taken Pitt and then they've made it more neat and tidy and corporate. That's how it feels to look at it. I'm not saying that's how it is, but it feels a little bit like that. It just looks a bit more cartoony, I think, in terms of like the colour and brightness and stuff. It almost doesn't feel like Dale Keown, but that's something as well. I noticed in some of them it says the colours were done by Dale Keown and someone else, which I assume is Dale Keown saying which colours go where, and then a colourist applying that. That's what I assume that it means when it says both people. Whereas here it's just one person doing the colour. So that may be why this issue feels a lot different to previous issues. What does it say the colourist in issue 1? Colourist. Oh, same colourist. But then there's a lot more black ink on this page. And then maybe that's how it goes. You know, the first issue is when he's sitting down drawing every little bit of it. And then even by issue 2, it's mostly outlines, and then the colourist is filling in the gaps. There's a lot less black spaces in this issue, which it makes it feel very different to issue 1. Which is, you know, like I say, not necessarily better or worse, but yeah, this feels a lot more like Marvel than the original Image Pitt issue 1 comic. Really cool though, cool pose, cool drawings, but it does feel different. I like when he draws a lot of like goop and blood and stuff. That comes up quite a lot in these comics, and those are good moments. There's some really good moments where there's like almost like you get a half of the body is drawn, another half of it is silhouette, and within that silhouette there's all this goop and blood like highlighted, almost like Sin City kind of, when the blood is like bright on a silhouetted body. And then stuff like this just looks fucking cool. Green goop, pink goop, a melted face with his teeth like Harvey Dent, the creases and chains and shit. Very, very cool. Awesome. That's a cool face. And then the whole thing in space and the aliens and where is Pitt now? Planet Earth. You are a fool, Quag. There's a lot of that as well, of like, I guess at this point it feels very generic sci-fi alien name sort of stuff. Quag and Zygon and Blorgarb those sorts of like alien names or whatever. This guy is one of them, and he comes up quite a lot. That's a cool cover, but I'd prefer it if it was darker, like issue 1 of Pitt. And I like the colour of the background, but the background just being plain with like a computer fade is a little bit like like if that was hand painted, for instance, you'd have a bit of texture in it with brush strokes and stuff. That would be something. But where it's digitally done, it looks a bit bland to me personally. Here you've got something going on with some lines and stuff. I'm not too keen on this cover, but it's all right. And this straight away feels a little bit darker. I mean, this scene is at night, so I mean, that's fair, isn't it? But that's a cool, nice double-page splash panel. I'm not impressed. I wonder what Pitt would sound like. Maybe that's something to spend some time looking at and thinking about. What the fuck would Pitt sound like if he was real? There's some hunters that are going after some deer or something, and then Pitt shows up and he's like, fuck you guys. What the hell? What the hell? I'm not impressed. He wouldn't sound like that. He'd sound like this. I'm not impressed. You can run for your lives now. Ah! And then he becomes friends with the dog. That's a cool fucking drawing, man. That's nice. That's cool, but that's just like where you have your character and you draw them a lot. Like I like drawing Gun Viking's head because it's quite a fun little head to draw. Probably the same with the Pitt, just a fun head to draw. Double lighting. Love the double lighting. Double lighting here even. I don't know where the glow is coming from, but it's there and it looks cool. Really, really solid like drawing of the form. And you saw in that Hulk drawing, like his muscles and veins are just so fucking good. He draws them so well. And I love the chunkiness of Pitt. I'd love a Pitt action figure that's just solid, like chunky Pitt action figure. Got the sexy lady in a towel. That's good. Throw those in the 90s comics. Bunch of other shit going on. Zoivod is here, see? We need an alien being. What's he called? Fucking Zoivod. I don't know, whatever. It's like in The Simpsons where they come up with Poochie and they go, and we need a name for him, like Poochie, but not as crappy, something cooler than Poochie. And then the executives leave the room and the writers will go, so is Poochie cool for everyone? And they were like, yeah, that'll do, it's fine. We need a name for this alien. Zoivod, is that all right? Yeah, fine, that'll do. I mean, I assume Dale Keown came up with his story and pencils is Dale Keown, so you have to imagine he came up with the characters. I don't know, but that's quite a cool like little sequence. So there's this dead fucking thing, which I guess is the body Zoivod used to transport himself to Earth or something. I'm getting all of this from not reading it, but just looking at the pictures. And then the goop bursts out of this being's chest. It goes all goopy whoopy up, and then whoop, into Zoivod. Wow, Zoivod is here. And Zoivod looks cool, but like not really cool. Just a bit cool. I do like lines all converging to a point, so that's quite cool. Something sort of like Venom symbiote about him, but not too much. Run! Open fire! There's a little bit like Liquid Metal Terminator 2 in there as well. Killing the police and everything. With his shiny spike hands. Another one of those. Not quite as cool as some of the Pitt ones, but Zoivod doing Zoivod things. Ah! Now there's a fucking cool couple of pages. This is really neat. Like the galaxy thing, and then it's like it's almost like a double exposure like you'd see in a film, but done in a comic. That's quite an interesting thing. You don't really see that too often. So in the shadows of the face and the mouth, the stars and galaxy and stuff, that's really, really cool. And then that's like an in-between panel, cool, whatever, and then you get the splash panel, And that's the last page as well. The double lighting, the orange here and here and here. That's really fucking solid. I haven't done double lighting properly much lately. I maybe need to spend some time doing a bit more of that. I never bother reading the letters because, like, whatever. Oh, dear Dale, I really love the comic. Can you answer these questions? And they ask questions like, why did he look different in this panel than he did in the other panel? But then sometimes, you know, he puts in, you know, fan art that people send in, which is really, really cool that people do that, and it's cool that he puts it in the comic. Some of them are like, whatever, some of them are kind of crappy, but some of them are really good, actually. So I was thinking about maybe doing like a tier list of Pitt fan art. I don't know. Could be fun for a minute or two. Zoivod has the kid. Another... Oh, these are so good. I might take photos or scan them in. All the splash panels and the double page spreads of Pitt. Because they're just all so fucking cool. I need to do more of these of Gun Viking. Because just... God damn. Zoivod. Release the boy now! That's a cool screen face as well. Oh. He's got no nose. How does he smell? Terrible. That pose looks a little bit janky, but yeah, it's whatever. Says me sitting here at my desk looking at the stupid comic. 90s comic, but guns. Do, 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 do. Cool pose. Not an easy pose to have the arm outstretched towards the camera with a gun. Nicely done. That's cool as well. Boosh! The policeman. Whoa. Flying backwards. That's really funny. Action, action, action. I like the double-handed fucking boof. That's really cool. I love how chunky his feet are as well. You see those quite a few times throughout the series. Really, really good chunky feet. That's a cool, again, a difficult pose. To do anything from above is always quite tricky. So to do the body like that, like fading away from view, is really, really cool. He's fucking melting his brain or something. The kid's got powers. Oh my god. He's using his mind to fucking tear into Zoivod. Tearing his fucking head off. Jesus. Splatch, splatch. Blanche? Isn't that some old woman's name? What's going on? What's she saying? I don't know where you come from, buddy, but around here there are rules to be followed. So shoot me. But she doesn't. Oh my god. He's got Zoivod's head. Body. End. Oh, I threw it on the floor. Never mind. I like this because quite a few comics have done this. The Max had like an issue that was all like black and red on the front cover. I've got a comic, Gun Viking issue that's mostly red on the cover, which would fit this theme. And I had obviously never seen this before, but I like that Pitt has a red issue amongst the many colours they have. That's a cool cover as well. Hand, blood dripping. I love the goop that he does. I like the goop that he does. He does good goop. Goop and chains, eyes in the background. A little bit of spray here. It's cool, man. It's a good cover. I'll try to get through 5 issues at least this week, and then we'll maybe speed run a bunch next week. This one feels a lot darker. The paper feels a little bit more uncoated. Still colours, same guy doing the colours, but certainly more black on the page. Again, it's a night scene, so maybe it's darker for that reason, but it feels, the inks feel a bit heavier in this one, which I like. I like the heavy inks. There's a fucking werewolf. She's a werewolf. Oh my god. So like there's a woman walking at night and they grab her. They're gonna fucking do shit to her. Pitt shows up to like save the woman. Turns out she probably didn't need saving because she's only a fucking werewolf. What are you gonna do? Call the cops? No, I've got a better idea. I'm going to kill you. I kill. Ah. Screams coming from the alley. From the same alley I just came. He should sound like Rorschach. Screams coming from the alley. From the same alley I just came from. It's the men who attacked the girl. Somebody removed their heads. The girl, I kill.
Rorschach's journal. That's it. I had it wrong. Rorschach's journal. He sounds like Batman. Rorschach's journal. I'm not wearing hockey pads. Screams coming from the alley. Give me back my face!
Alright, so what the fuck are we doing anyway? Well, I'll tell you. This is Psy-Crow. He's a character from the classic video game Earthworm Jim. You might have known, because I'm doing a bunch of... I'm doing a bunch of Earthworm Jim character paintings, and I've done a couple, and now I'm doing more a couple, and this is one of them. Yay! Hey! That's some level winning music from the video game Earthworm Jim. Do you remember Earthworm? Yeah, this is Psy-Crow. He's a crow. See, because all of Jim's enemies relate to like worms. One of his enemies is a cat, which I guess isn't that worm enemy like. One's a fish. You know, fish eat worms. They get bait worms to catch the fucking fish. And others. A crow. Crows eat fucking worms, I guess. Chimpanzees eat what? Well, no, I guess not chimpanzees, but fucking whatevs. You get it. Yeah, and they're cool. I really like the designs of them. I like the art style. I like the amount of character they have is really good. Because none of them look like generic character designs. They all look, except for Pete the puppy, which, you know, isn't one of the villains, but he's one of the characters in the thing. And he looks like a fairly generic, just like cartoon, anthropomorphic puppy character, whatever. But, you know, it's alright, isn't it? It's whatever, it's just a puppy. But then, of course, he does mutate into a big, hideous monster and he looks fucking badass. And don't worry, I'll be painting him as well. I mean, I've already painted him. A picture of, you know... I did his whole mutation fucking animation type thing. I painted it all. I do it all. I do everything for you people. And what do I get in return? I get some of you helping me to pay my rent and bills. And I'm very, very appreciative of that. Thank you. I'm aware. I don't actually think... You people will do nothing for me. You help me a great deal, every single one of you. Everyone who interacts with my shit regularly, who likes my posts on Instagram, who watches my videos, leaves a comment. I appreciate all of you, you lovely, lovely people. A bunch of bastards, but I love you all. I'll sing a song about that one day. I'll sing a song about how I love you all. And I'll be masturbating the whole time. Obviously. I mean... Be weird if I wasn't, wouldn't it? The colours of the rainbow. Yeah, whatever. Look at that. Whoa, look at the purple in the background. That's cool, isn't it? Should we give him a little bit of a purple underglow on his face? Might ruin it, but oh well, it's all part of the game, innit? We'll tidy it up with some outlines and stuff afterwards. It's all good. We'll make it work, don't worry. We'll make it work, love. We'll be alright. A little bit of highlighting that. Ooh, shit. I drop my brush so often. I think it's old age. I've always had shaky hands, but I think it's getting worse with my, you know, as the years draw on. I'm aware I'm not actually that old, I'm just saying. So I'm trying to get this done because I was going to show you the drawings I've got that I'm going to be painting over. That I'm going to be turning into paintings. I'm just trying to get this fucking bit of purple done while I've still got the purple paint wet and ready to use, and then I'll fire away. You get it. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. That'll do. Right, so we've got Psy-Crow. Blech. Fuck off. Professor Monkey for a head. He's one of my favourites just because it's fucking, monkeys, chimpanzees. See, he's a professor and he's got a monkey for a head, and a monkey, and then a professor for a head. I think sometimes he does be monkey professor for a head, but then he's usually Professor Monkey for a head. I'm going to paint it this way up with the lighting coming this way. So the up direction of the piece will be this way, but the lighting will be coming from underneath. So it should make him look a bit more spooky and dangerous. And it would be sort of simple lighting for the chip, but that should be quite a cool one. I'm looking forward to that. We've got Pete the puppy, but like scared Pete, but like one of the puppies has like been dropped and bonked on its head, and he's all like, "Oh no, what's happened?" Which causes him to get angry and mutate into the big fucking gnarly puppy. That'll be a good one. That's going to be a really, really good one. Evil the cat is cool. I like him. A fairly basic drawing, but I think the painting will be nice. It'll be dark browns and oranges in the background with some like orange glow on this side of him, and then a light orange underneath. That'll be quite a cool one because he lives in heck in the video game, not in hell, because that's a bad word. He lives in heck. And then Bob, the evil goldfish or killer goldfish or whatever, who gets carried around by a giant cat guy. So I've got him on the shoulder of the cat guy in his little fish bowl. And that's really funny in the video game because you go through this whole underwater level and these submersible bits, similar to a billionaire that died in a submersible. And you've got to try not to die in the submersible. And you go through all the thing, and then there's a hamster you ride who eats these little fish. So you get right to the end, right up to him on a pedestal in his fish bowl, the little fish, and it's the showdown with the boss at the end of the level. And then you use your worm head to whip the bowl, and it just cracks onto the floor, and then the fish is just on the floor out of his bowl going, and that's it, and you've beaten him. It's really, really funny. Well, I like it anyway. Anyway, back to Mr. Crow, the Psy-Crow. Let's paint his fucking gun. Yeah, get some red gun in there. I'm trying to get this done as quick as I can within, potentially under an hour, depending on how well it all goes. Because I need to get these done relatively quick so I can sell them and make money. Sadly, that is the state of affairs. It's just how it goes. It's not ideal, but gotta make some money. And I say like I've got to get these done so I can sell them. I've got to get these done, and then hopefully people will want to actually buy them. That's the thing. I can do them and have them for sale. There's no guarantee a single one will actually fucking sell. So here's hoping, I guess. That's about all I need for this red, I think. I can highlight it a little bit, but I don't think I need to do too much. Maybe a little bit. No, I don't. Maybe a little bit. See, because I want everything within the bowl on his head to be slightly lighter, so it appears, different to the outer fucking whatevs. You get it. And then we use a gouache. A reddish, and this is ever so slightly orange gouache, and I use gouache every now and again because of how opaque it is. It's very good for covering in like a thin layer. I dislike it because acrylic paint, once it's dry, you can paint over it 100 times and it's fine, but with gouache, once it's dry, if you get it wet again, it wets, and if you try to paint over it with another paint, it mixes in. So that's not so good. So gouache, you sort of have to get it done first try almost, which I usually can do with acrylics anyway, but every now and again I might want to paint over something, and if I'm using gouache, that's not generally feasible. But for things like this, where you just want like a bold colour that just covers nice and quickly, nice and easily, it's pretty much perfect, which is usually good, especially for red, because red, as I've said before, can be very difficult to paint with. It can be very difficult to highlight red, because red in general is doesn't cover colours very well. And then it's like, do you use yellow to make it into an orange or white to make it into a pink? And it's a bit tricky. Whereas if you just go in with a bright red gouache or gouache, I don't know how it's pronounced. I pronounce it gouache, but I don't really care how it's, if there's an official pronunciation or whatever. Then yeah, it just covers and is bold and sort of looks all right without having to do too much work. So that's good. And again, the less work I have to do, the better. He says, expecting everyone to just buy all his shit. Oh, I don't do any work at all. I put in minimal effort and hopefully everyone will buy it because of that. Fucking lazy shit sod. Do some goddamn work. I do a lot of work. I put in a lot of effort into my shit in general. I'm sure you can all appreciate that. And yes, I realise I missed a little bit of the... I should have put the other red a bit here. And I also realise there's more red. There's not just the gun. There's also his neck bit and shoulder pads that need to be red also. So I'll get those done. 2. Hey, boy. There's a little shoulder pad in the background there. A bit there. I could put a little bit of purple in that, I think. Maybe a little bit of purple in the gun as well. Like a little slight underglow, purpley underglow kind of thing. Yeah. And then this shoulder pad. Or shoulder bit. I don't know if it's a shoulder pad or whatever. Just the shoulder connector bit of his space suit that he wears. Because he wears like a space suit. Hence the helmet. The almost fishbowl-like helmet that he wears. You go, this is like one of my Monday painting class videos, but it's on a podcast instead. Wow, crazy Ewan switching it up. You never know what he's gonna do. Big, bold brush strokes, apparently. Just chunky paint. I'll go over bits of this with, you know, the usual dark red that I use, so... It doesn't need to be too neat and tidy right now. Talk, take care of that and sort that out. That's what I was trying to say, 2 things at once. Take care of that and we'll sort that out afterwards. So there's no hurry for that. That's all fucking bloody good. More gouache just for the rim of this neck piece. And then a bit behind him as well. Man, give me a TV show and I'll paint and talk. I'll make it fun and interesting for the kids. They'll learn about art and colours and penises and uses for penises and all the different uses for a penis. You'd be surprised how many there are. Or maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you'll watch me talk about all the different uses for a penis and you'll go, yeah, that's about what I thought. I had those figured out from an early age. I knew what a penis could do. Most guys know what a penis can do. They've put it in a few places. Most guys have put their penises in quite a few places, let me tell you that. And if you're there thinking, oh, I haven't, yeah, you have. Yeah, you have. We've all put it in a bit of bread and sort of just to see how it feels. We've all tried it. We've all put a toilet roll on it, you know. Will it fit in here? Ooh, well, when I was younger, maybe. But not these days. It's gotten a bit bigger since then, let me tell you that. We've all done it. We've all done it. Right, what do we need? What else do we need for this fella? I would do want to do some purple going into the red a little bit. Some purple, mix it in with the red, and then a little bit under here. Bring that up a little bit here. Make it a more reddish purple. So it blends, and then get a bit more purpley purple, a little bit less reddy purple. Put it on top, blend that into the reddish purple, and even that, there, 2 layers, and it's already blended in quite well from purple to red. That's all it takes. Nice and easy. Bibble squeezy. Whatever the fuck that means, Jesus Christ. Bit of grey, like your mum's vagina. Bit of blue, just make it slightly more metallic looking. That's the trick I've used and I've told you about before. Get some blue in with your grey, makes it a little bit more metallic looking. We want this to be quite a light grey though, for what we're using it for, which is for the hook in his gun. I think it's like a fishing hook gun or something like that, which again would make sense, Jim being a worm, because it's got these barbs on the end of the hook. So yeah, it would make sense to be like a fishing hook gun thing that he fires at Jim. I don't remember too much of the lore, you know, the canon of Earthworm Jim et al. It's been, I guess it's actually not been too many years since I played the video games, because I did have, when my dad passed away, he gave me his, did he give me the Sega Mega Drive? No, he gave me the games. Yeah, so I think his partner's son took the actual Sega Mega Drive, because he had it because he liked to play. There was like 2 puzzle games on it that he liked. He completed Tetris. My dad completed Tetris. Did you know you could complete Tetris? He was really, really good with puzzle games because he was a taxi driver, so he could just sit there all day. Not all day, but you know, he'd sit there with a Game Boy playing Tetris for hours, because waiting to pick up people or whatever. So yeah, he had the Sega Mega Drive because there was like a couple of puzzle games on it that he liked to play. So then he passed away, and his partner's son took the actual Sega Mega Drive, probably sold it on or something. But then there was just a whole box of games that he had with it but never played. And so they were like, "Oh, do you want these?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, cool, thank you." So then I found on eBay just a cheap Sega Mega Drive, and I already had a bunch of games. One of those games was Earthworm Jim, which I had played back in the day, like when it was new. But I got to play again on an actual Sega Mega, like it wasn't emulated on a PC or anything. It was actually Sega Mega Drive, as it was known over here. That was good times, man. And that was, I mean, only really a few years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Which was just before I moved to where I am now, because I didn't take it with me, because it's just stuff and it takes up space, and I can't be doing with that. It's just a bit much. But yeah, fucking great fun game, just interesting and weird, fun to play, fun characters, fun sound effects, the noises and the music in the game are all fun and interesting. Oh shit, I need to get his little zipper. I do want to do one thing. I'm going to need more white paint. This is all drying up. Shitums. Even more white. God damn it. I want to do something, some kind of like 3D-ishness on his head here and here, but I'm not sure quite what colour to go for. Get some more white paint out because I'm going to need that. Oh, way more than I'm going to need, but I swear, better to have too much than not enough, as they say. I'm thinking maybe a little bit raw umber, but I'm thinking to do it purplish, but like a dull brown purple goop kind of colour. Maybe a little bit more of a bluey goopy purple. That it probably basically looks grey, but like slightly purple, slightly brown. I think it basically is grey. But that's how it is. That's what they call, it's like an impossible blue or something, where you mix blue into purple into orange for like a sunset, and then there's this weird mid phase where it becomes just completely colourless. It becomes like a grey. It looks like a blue blending into orange, but it's actually like a grey, which is really weird. But that's how colour works, isn't it? You study colour theory for a few years, you fucking figure it out. Sort yourself out with that shit. I can't be holding your hand all the way. I'm sure, you know, I could teach you a lot about this and that, but I'm not actually a teacher, so, you know, give me some fucking money if you want to. I have been talking with some people who do online art lessons, a couple of quite prominent artists that do online art lessons. I've been talking with them about their approach to it and their process, and, you know, sort of what they charge and things, just trying to get a grasp on like how, because I've had people ask me about, you know, do I do online art lessons or whatever, and I'm sure it's something I could do, but it's something I don't really have experience with, so I'm a little bit, you know, unsure of how to approach it. So I need a little bit of guidance, and, you know, I was thinking, you know, if I take on one or two students just to see how it goes, and, you know, make sure they know this is new for me, so keep my prices low to start with, and just sort of see how it goes. I've got some ideas of like how I could approach teaching certain things. I think it would more be about ask the student, the pupil, what it is they want to know, and get them to come up with like their own project that I can then help with, and help develop ideas and techniques and stuff to bring that project to fruition, rather than just say this is how you draw anatomy, or this is how you draw this or that. Like give guidance rather than just straight, you know, teaching or whatever. So yeah, definitely something I've thought of, and I'm not necessarily planning on doing, but could certainly give a go, and it might even bring in a little bit of cash, which would be nice, wouldn't it? And then people could say, what do you do? And I could be like, oh, I teach art. And they'll be like, oh, you're an art teacher at a school. And I'm like, nah, internet, you know. I Zoom call people and I say, draw it better, you fuck. And they go, I'm sorry, Ewan, I'm sorry, I'm trying, please. And then we all get along, and it's all very good and fun. I realise this is going to be a long one today, this episode, but, you know, I guess that's better for you, isn't it? It's like a bonus, extra long, wow, episode. But, you know, if I can get a whole fucking painting done in a single episode, then even better. Oh, you know, again, full honesty, I usually record the first bit, then I stop recording, then I record the next bit showing the art book or the comic or whatever, and then I stop recording, and then I start recording again and get back to whatever I was doing in the first chunk. But today I recorded the first bit, and then I stopped, and then I started again and kept painting because I wanted to get it done, and then I'm gonna record the or I would have recorded looking at the Pitt comics, but I'm going to edit it to make it look like it's in the middle of the painting when actually it was done after the painting. So at the moment, while I'm painting this, I don't know how long I would have gone on with those Pitt comics, so it might go on and on and on and on. I'll have to sort of see how that goes, I guess. I'm sure it'll all be fun and worthwhile, though. Maybe. I don't want too much of an outline on this helmet bowl, but just enough that it is clearly defined. And I think that'll do. Okay, I got that all right. I've got the opening song stuck in my head at the moment. Do do do, a tweedly do, doodly dee, dwaddly do, and I poop in my pants. What did I poop in my pants? Do 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 do. Okay, well, there's a thing. If you are someone that might be interested in some experimental art lessons online, get in touch, because I may well be interested in trying that out. And I do want to make sure the person I'm doing it to, I'm inflicting it upon, knows, you know, we're all learning here. I'm learning to teach. They're learning to fucking, I don't know, draw tits or whatever it is. So we can all grow together as a people and better ourselves and give me money. Also, it might have to be like, you know, what, like, I might have to ask people. I really don't know. See, this is it. I don't know what to do. Like, part of me thinks it's best to have a price in mind and tell people how much I'm charging. But at the same time, I sort of want to get an idea of what people might be willing to pay, because I don't want to feel like I'm overcharging, but I also don't want to feel like I'm undercharging, because I do have to make some money. And I know my audience, it might be quite different to some of the other artists' audiences that I've spoken to, and they might not have as much money as some of these other people. So, which is what I try to do with most of my stuff. Is I try to keep everything as minimally priced as possible, because I want people who like it to have access to it. I don't want to stop people getting it just because, you know, they don't have as much money. They should still be able to get hold of art and stuff, you know. Art shouldn't be for rich people only. Oh shit, that reminds me, I need to write that down. Fuck. I really need to write that down. I had that idea. God damn it, let me get a post-it note. I want to redo my artists versus art experts piece. I thought about this the other day and I meant to write it down but forgot to write it down, and I only just now remembered it. Where you have, you know, a drawing of an artist is like this horrible fucking golem looking person, pale, bags under their eyes, cigarettes and alcohol and whatever, drug use, just this dishevelled mess of a person that makes art. And then people who talk about art experts are, you know, fucking rich fuckers, toffs in expensive suits, drinking wine and champagne, smoking cigars, just absolute cunts. that think they know what they're talking about, but have no real like lived experience of the life of an artist. They just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And that's the art world. You say a bunch of bullshit to sell a product. And I mean, that's the world in general, really. But, you know, since art is the thing I do, the art world is the part of it that I have some kind of knowledge of. Not a great amount of knowledge, but some kind of knowledge. And it disgusts me. Because it's rich people taking advantage of the creativity of actual creative people, which is, yeah, you know, movies, the movie industry, the music industry, it's all the same. The corporations taking advantage of the work of genuinely talented and creative, smart people to sell a product, hooray, to get their stock prices up a bit and make more money for the handful of people at the top. This is going to be a long episode. Jesus. I was really excited to look at those Pitt comics. And now, just before I'm going to be recording me looking at them, I'm wondering, I might have to keep it quite short today. Maybe do an extended look at them next week. I don't have to. I know it's my podcast. I make it go as long as I want, but do people really want to have a podcast episode that's an hour and a half or 2 hours long? Of course they do. They want it to just go on and on. They'd have an infinite podcast if they could. Everyone wants the podcast to never end and just have it go on and 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 on. Some people want multiple episodes a week, which is, you know, cool. I'd do that if I could. Yeah, I could, but, you know, it has to be worth my time, doesn't it? Are we just about done? Obviously, the very last thing is always the white high top highlights. They go onto everything. Let's just add in like little bits of final texture and shit, shadow bits, just brush strokes of fucking whatever. Blobs and texture and ooh, look at the fucking thing. Ooh. Right, and then last little bit. We're almost done. Don't worry, you can go watch something else soon. I wonder how many people actually watched to the end. I think I looked on my. I never bother looking at analytics and stuff because in general it doesn't interest me, but I happened to look, you know, because I was looking up the YouTube partnership stuff and I figured, you know, it's worth looking at the analytics at least a tiny little bit while I'm here. And I think it said like most people, it seems, watch like maybe 10 to 15 minutes of a video, like a podcast or whatever, and then, I don't know, just turn off, go watch something else. And it does make me think like, oh, you know, I make these things fucking hours long and people watch for like a fraction of that time. Maybe I should only make them a fraction of that length. But then what if I make them 15 minutes long and people only watch still a fraction and they're only watching a couple of minutes? And it's like, I guess I can't win, can I? Not that there's any winning and losing, but, you know, it's fucking whatevs. Give a fuck. Shiny, shiny spacesuit. Shiny, shiny bits. Shiny penis, shiny anus, shiny bum and tits. Do.